Friend just texted me, how did you not tell me that you dove looking for a UFO crash site?
Says Canada's most famous UFO. This here's way bigger than Roswell, far as facts go.
But they never found any.
That's what the government says. Believe everything the government tells you.
The water was clearing. I thought there might be something from this UFO crash.
You see the movie The Perfect Storm? Yeah. My brother was in that in a 45-foot boat.
Real perfect storm.
Yeah, the real perfect storm, yeah.
How'd you make out?
He's here.
Earlier this summer, a friend and I were trying to figure out places to go explore in Nova Scotia. And I told Alana, Jen, and Sarah, like, it would be really cool if we could figure out somehow to get to Shag Harbour and do the UFO crash site.
I really had never explored very much of the South Shore, and I didn't know of Shag Harbour or the UFO incident at all.
Any new site is exciting, and the fact that you bring in all this history and mystery into it is super cool.
I was so excited to do it because I was like, this is going to be a historic event. Not only for like us, but this is going to be a historic event for there because we are going to leave our mark down in Shag Harbour.
I loved the Shag Harbour UFO Incident Museum.
It's a small town to have had such a huge event.
I could feel this sense of pride and identity walking into the museum that the Shag Harbour community has to this event, which I thought was really cool.
It was interesting. They had a mix between very factual evidence and then lots of aliens sitting around and different alien figures. I'm Abby. I started diving when I was 15, I believe. My dad was a Navy scuba diver. I also do some modeling, play violin. Very Nova Scotian of me, I play the fiddle.
So Abby, we'd never gone diving with her, but she's a fairly experienced diver. She's a rescue diver, so I knew that she would be okay and she'd hold her own.
When I think of back going on dive boats, it's predominantly men that go on the dive boats. So it's nice to see a lot of women, and it was nice to see that they've formed a group to do that.
I was really excited to see what this museum had to offer. The highlight of that was meeting Lori.
He is the main operator of this museum, and he often gives interviews and talks to people when they're interested in learning more about the UFO incident.
Yeah, it's something that should be celebrated, something that could, if it promoted right, could bring a couple 100,000 tourists to Nova Scotia a year, same as Roswell, but this here's way bigger than Roswell, far as facts go.
We heard that you have experience with the incident yourself. You're an eyewitness.
Somewhat. I'm the first one that called the RCMP reported a plane crash.
Wow.
Look at this fine young gentleman
That was
over
my
here.
girls.
Lori, how old are you in this photo?
17, would have been 18 the end of the month.
Oh, wow.
Well, it was in 1967, and there was 5 of us driving along the car that I was driving, and we see lights in over the land here, and we watched the light drift down by, and after it went down past probably 300 or 400 yards, the light just went out. Went to the phone booth, called the RCMP, reported the plane crash.
Were you ever thinking, I must be crazy?
No.
No.
Because I wasn't drinking, so I knew what we see.
No one called in the accident as a UFO. They called it in as a plane crash. So the RCMP or the government were the ones that called it a UFO because they weren't sure what it was.
But they never found any.
That's what the government says. Believe everything the government tells you. One of the Mounties went and found people that had fishing boats to go out and look for it, and they called the Coast Guard, and they went out, and everybody was looking for plane wreckage, and nothing was found. I read that. I can't go.
The Rescue Coordination Center conducted preliminary investigation and discounted the possibilities that the sighting was produced by an aircraft, flares, floats, or any other known objects.
Come from the archives in Ottawa. That's when the government called it a UFO. Everybody just figured it's something American or Russian, and everybody went home and forgot about it. All the next day, the CBC was here, and then Friday, the divers come, and me and one of the Mounties went out on the Coast Guard to show them where we see it last, and they put divers over, but they wouldn't know it near the area where we seen it. We went back in, and that's the last I see or heard of tell of anybody.
And you're saying we're only the second to go diving here?
There's only one other person that's dove there. Even the Custos never dove there when they were here. They was here, that's the video they made.
These are Jacques Cousteau's
Grandkids. Custos never dove here where they were supposed to start with. Why not? Well, I figured the government told the movie company don't dive there.
He definitely thinks that the coordinates that he had sent off were changed, so people who were potentially going to dive there didn't have an opportunity to. So he resent the coordinates back over, and again, they were changed. And his buddy actually sent them over as well, and they were changed then too.
And I was doing an interview with a woman in the States, and we got cut off 4 or 5 times, and then somebody come on there and told her phone was being recorded.
So it just needed this dream team of girl divers to be there to do this.
I'd show you better on this chart in here.
Sure.
That's where everything happened.
Lori, Bruce, Mary, Rosalind, and Ruth Ann noticed 4 yellow-white lights going on and off in sequence off to their right as they passed by the Shag Harbour United Baptist Church.
That's where I went to the phone booth called the RCMP, reported the plane crash. Here's where the light was in the water, here's where it drifted to. Here's where the RCMP, 3 RCMP officers come, along with about 40 witnesses who watched the light drift from here down to there, then it went out. Here's where the Coast Guard searched for boats, and fishing boats searched for wreckage that night, nothing was found. And here's where 2 people we know was parking that night. They had it go over top of them.
So from what you're describing, you could get a pretty accurate spotting of where it landed because you had people from 4 different sides of it.
Yeah.
Where do you think we'll be diving? Where are you going to take us?
Right here, right where we see the light last. And they're the first ones to dive there since the Navy divers did if they dove in there in '67. Since then, to my knowledge, nobody's dove there. So who's going to the wharf with me in the truck? Don't all you volunteer to one.
That morning that we got there, he actually just arranged his friend to come and help us, who's a lobsterer, and he was right on board. I liked him too, Captain Larry.
You folks can swim, because I can't.
I can't either.
I can't swim a stroke. I've been overboard a couple times, but I can't.
We can save you if anything.
Good.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a very Nova Scotian experience to dive off of a lobster fishing boat. That's just, it doesn't get more Nova Scotian than that.
Now that I know that he has a ladder, it looks great. The back's perfect for jumping off of. It's like a perfect height. It's big, there's lots of room for us. It's a great boat. I'm excited.
I really liked Laurie. He's definitely now one of my favorite Nova Scotians. I feel like he was a very typical South Shore lobster fisherman. He kind of had these gurrs and grumbles once in a while and a little bit of a foul mouth. I really got a kick out of him.
It's light, I'll grab it. If it's heavy, I'm not. My back is, but all got to come aboard here. So.
We were instant friends. Just a bit bickering back and forth and tormenting each other. He just reminds me of my grandfather, I think, is what it was. And like we just went like this. We were like glue, stuck together. We're besties. I think if you're someone who has an ear to listen, he's got a lot to tell. And I'm definitely willing to listen to what he had to say because he's got a lot of stories. Like a lot.
You see the movie The Perfect Storm? My brother was in that in a 45-foot boat. Yeah, The Real Perfect Storm, yeah. How'd you go? He's here.
I don't think anyone from Torpedo Rays has dove on a UFO site before, so the rest of the Sea Foxes will be excited for us to go back to Halifax and share our stories.
You are always excited because you never know what you're going to find. There's always such an element of like mystery and adventure of what you're going to see. And so with this, it was like that, but on steroids.
So how much further up is
The place is up there in the harbor, probably 2 miles from here.
Lori said there was the wife of the lighthouse keeper also saw it.
Then she went and woke her husband up, and the other lighthouse keeper and reported the plane crash, and they laughed at her and told her she was nuts. But wasn't long after and they see the search boats out there searching for something, and so they didn't think she was nuts anymore.
He was definitely destined to take us there. He knew exactly where to take us. He had everything written down, like A, B, and C, and we were going to the spot that he saw this UFO.
There's the island there that the Pentagon owned in 1967 when this happened. All the American Navy showed up there, and the people on the wharf said they took something out of the boat that they didn't have when they went out. They come home and packed up, and that was the last we see of them. I think they were surprised they even found anything, and I'll leave it at that. They seemed happy when they come up, so. They flew up there from the Pentagon there to the Air Force Base the next morning. They locked that down, nobody was allowed to leave. My uncle was stationed there at the time, and he asked the commanding officer, he said, "What did you see?" The commanding officer told him, "You ask me no questions, I'll tell you no lies." So that's what he got from his boss.
I think it's really cool. See if we can find anything. Hopefully we don't get in trouble if we do.
This is roughly where the light was last seen that night before it just disappeared, and to my knowledge, I don't think anybody's dove here since.
We're gonna descend by the anchor. We'll probably use the line as a visual reference as we descend. And then we're gonna do a circle getting larger and larger from the anchor since we're kind of above where they think the crash site was. Nobody really knows what to expect. Like the captain isn't sure if it's gonna be a rocky bottom or a silty bottom.
Should we just go over hand signals just so everybody's clear again, just when we haven't, yeah, air.
I might check on your air. Half tank is what I really wanna know, because we'll start to think about ending our dive around half a tank.
And if something's wrong, something's wrong, like point to your, if you can't equalize, point to your ears.
Is there a hand signal for aliens?
Oh, that's
Yeah, like that. I think the conditions are decent. We are diving just around high slack, which is the ideal time to dive. There might be a tiny current pulling us out, but we're gonna try to stick together. And if something goes wrong, hopefully we'll be well prepared to swim out of the current and have a safe dive.
This is the good part.
Yeah, that in.
Thanks, love.
Just getting my hair out, don't mind me.
I'm curious what the viz will be like. Well, it's always a bit of a gamble. I feel like if it's like low viz, it will be kind of eerie and it will fit the mood of like looking for mysterious objects.
Everything's pink. Pink in my world.
A few of the girls are gonna be hooked up with GoPros, so we'll see what we can find.
Diving is all teamwork. Everything. You have to help your buddy.
The best anti-fog is your spit, so don't mind me rubbing that around in there to make sure my mask doesn't get too foggy. I was the first to jump in the water, and I was able to pretty easily kick and swim to the anchor line.
All right, next.
Our original plan was to do circles around the site and slowly go smaller, like to scan the site, kind of a search pattern. Then we hopped off the boat and we started drifting very far away from the boat very quickly, and we realized that that plan was not going to happen.
Just in the time that we were swimming to the line, you could feel that there was definitely a pretty strong surface current.
Try to swim towards me and grab this line.
Tide's got going right in the strength of it too. When we first come in, there wasn't that much.
Yeah, I think we were in the mix of the low tide and the high tide. It was like that sweet spot where it was just a little bit dangerous to dive. Not reckless, just dangerous.
By the time the fifth diver, Jen, got into the water, the surface current did pick up quite a bit, so she was starting to be pushed out further from us.
And I'm a pretty strong swimmer. And you're swimming, like if you're trying to swim forwards, it's pushing you backwards. That's why I had a rope thrown to me from the boat, and then I was dragged to where the girls were because that current was so strong.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I was really, really confident in my dive buddies. We have such an unspoken bond of communication. You can look at eyes and you just know what people are thinking.
And we're all stayed together. Like If there's an issue with one of us, we all come up.
Yeah. So we were being kind of pushed in the water with that current. So we decided to just descend and not let go of the line. It was pretty eerie to descend. At about 30 feet down, it started to get very dark. So I definitely got spooked when we got to the darkness. So I paused for a second and I looked back and I checked with all the other divers to make sure that they were okay and that we could keep descending down.
Didn't know what we were going to see when I went down. I thought, are we going to go down and see like a Russian plane? You never know.
The current was a little bit weaker at depth, but it was still quite strong.
I kind of felt like I was in The Wizard of Oz inside a tornado. Everything that we normally see sitting on the floor of the ocean was just floating past us really quickly.
Red algae getting like blown into us. We're getting like it caught on us. We're pulling it off.
The water was clearing, and there was something below Alana and Abby, and they hadn't even noticed yet. I thought, I can't believe it. We might be here. There might be something from this UFO crash.
Hello.
Hello, I'm here sitting at the UFO Museum. Is there anybody inside?
No, there isn't, and I'm out on the water with a film crew shooting a story about it. Sorry I can't be there.
Oh, okay, no problem.
I hope they enjoy this. I hope they get down there and find some colors.
As we were descending, the visibility was quite low. There was a few times I'm like, okay, we're not at depth yet. We're not at depth yet.
We got down there was this little lobster crawling around, and you could see the lobster actually struggling to move the direction he wanted because the current was pulling him the other way.
The lobsters are just going ting, ting, ting in front of my face, flying in the current. Like, it was extremely strong, that current.
We ended up seeing a structure.
I don't think it was any UFO parts. It looked like a huge concrete block of some sort. I could see that it was at least 6 feet long.
And it's really weird that a concrete block that big would just be there.
Something else had got caught on that and broke. It looked like a giant, like a big wooden mast from a ship. There was something buried along the mast under the sand, and I dusted it off. And it was an anchor line, so some big, heavy chain. I thought it was really incredible that where they placed us, there was actually something there. So what does that say? Is there something about that spot in particular that is attracting these items? So.
I grew up in a fishing community, and I've asked a lot of the fishermen, like, what do you think this was? And they have no idea what it is. No one knows.
We can refer to it as a UO. It wasn't flying, I don't think, but we definitely found some sort of unidentified object down there.
We all kind of decided that it was time to head back up.
I decided to dive with my buoy that dive. We thought just in case of an emergency, if we got swept away from the anchor line, we would have some sort of marker for the boat to be able to find us.
But because the current was so strong and it was just a small little buoy, it was kind of moving with the current. And as she was moving up and down and she was right below me on the line, I was getting wrapped in it. The key to diving is to make sure you don't panic. You have to stay calm at all times, and that's why you dive with a buddy, and you have to make sure you dive with someone you trust and someone that's going to look out for you.
But she handled that very well. She didn't freak out, and she knew to stay calm, and she knew that we would help her get untangled. Hello!
Everybody okay?
We made it!
The most challenging part of the dive was getting back onto the boat. And so we have this current happening, and I'm feeling like my gear is really heavy as I try to climb up this boat.
Because we're diving with dry suits, we need to wear lead weight around either our waist on a weight belt or in our integrated BCD pockets.
Larry,
Right here? Okay.
And once you're standing, it's fine. It's just getting from that awkward position in the water to standing up on the ladder and pulling yourself up.
there you are.
Thank you. Woo! Thank you.
We get lost again.
All right.
We made it. We're alive. We didn't get abducted, so that's good. Quite bad
So I
current.
take it you're not going down again?
We were lucky. It was we went right down, and that was the only thing we could see. We couldn't see anywhere else or anything else around us, so we were right over the structures.
Metal or wood?
It was maybe cement. Yeah.
There was round parts, wood. Like a mast that was broken, and then there was a whole chain.
Yeah, it was pretty big. It was the closest we got to finding aliens.
Let me show you what I got.
Yeah, I was so pumped when you got that.
I saw a scallop, and I've got my scallop picking license
Malaya is always finding scallops. She loves them. So she actually gave it to Lori to eat.
as a thank you for showing us the cool site here at Shag Harbour.
He cracked her open and ate her raw there.
Thank you. Go on.
You ate it already?
Yeah.
That was so fast. You can probably tell that now we're all like happy and giggly, and we've got a bit of an adrenaline rush. I feel like that was successful, and I'm proud of us. We did a good job, I think.
After every single dive, no matter what it is, you just feel like proud of yourself. That no matter how many dives you have, no matter how much experience you have, there's always more to learn. Like you're never gonna stop, so you'll never get bored.
We had a great day. I think they enjoyed themselves, and they did dive, and they did find something. They were pretty happy.
Aliens! That was our first dive with Abby. She did awesome for that being her first dive, I think, in cold water in a long time as well.
They're all really nice people, so it was great to meet her, and she's invited me out diving since. She said I can dive with her whenever I'm around.
Everyone in the South Shore and everyone we met along the way was super friendly, so it was great to be part of their community, and I think they really got a kick out of 5 women divers diving this crash site.
Divers are this like select group of people that get to experience these places and be front row seat to these mysteries that no one else has really been able to see or explore.
So I thought that was such a great privilege, and I'm honored to be one of the first divers down there.
I think we could be part of the museum now. You know, we did find unidentifiable objects underwater at Shag Harbour.
I'm never gonna forget that dive, ever. It's probably close to one of my favorite dives I've ever done, to be honest.
I think some of our diving friends were super jealous, especially when we told them about like the conditions that we were diving in. Like, friend just texted me, "How did you not tell me that you dove looking for a UFO crash site?"
There's definitely more to explore down there, and I would love to go back and do it again. So hopefully Lori, my main squeeze, will take me out and we get to go do it again.
Great guy. Yeah, he has a lot of personality. I added him on Facebook. We're friends now.
The Shag Harbour dive will definitely be top on my list of most memorable dives forever, I think.
Maybe we find something else the next time, you never know.